everyone. Stacey Reed with Integrity Plus Financial Solutions. Welcome to the show today. I hope you all had a great 4th of July and holiday weekend. It is my absolute pleasure to learn and to introduce to you Reagan Ward with Leslie Tyler Designs.
Yes,
welcome.
Thank you for having me, Stacey.
Yes. I'm super excited about this show. So our word for the week is preserve. And so it was a very fitting word for you
we
to
do.
Yeah,
that's a passion of mine personally, as well as the company that I run. So yeah.
Yes, awesome. So so we're just going to jump right in because I'm excited to hear how she got started and what all she does. I know as much as you do right now, so I'm excited to learn. So
I will give you a brief rundown.
Yeah,
I'm the creative director of Leslie Tyler Design. We're a full-service design studio, so we handle commercial and residential interior design. But I always say that our niche is working with historical properties. So that could be, early 19th century. It could be, mid-century. But we love really preserving the craftsmanship that is so often kind of just stripped away. Yeah. So we work with local salvage yards that sometimes if a property is too dilapidated that they can't save it, what they will come and do is take out everything that's valuable and then put it into homes that are lacking in character. So we work with those people, and then, like I said, homeowners that are kind of overwhelmed because oftentimes your older homes are much more work, and they do, and I get that. But what we like to offer is that support that makes it possible so that we're not losing those really valuable artifacts that if we don't hold on to, we won't have anything to show, our kids.
Yeah, so. My mom and my stepdad actually just retired from Bowling Green, Kentucky, and moved up here, and they bought a place, and it's over 100-year-old log cabin.
Oh wow!
And it's in East Peoria, and it was and it's got some story. And it used to be like their living room area, and the back bedroom was like even a library, and
I bet
it was like a Lincoln Library or something like that. But there's a little bit of history that goes
and story, and I think that's so interesting. Especially in your homes, that you can kind of continue that and build upon that history that's there. So now they can make their stake in there and form their memories and things that they can pass on to their grandchildren. So I think that's so exciting. I know
the lady who sold it, one of the things she said when she kind of so to speak interviewed people who came and looked at it was like, what is your goal for it? Are you going to keep it intact, or are you
that's
going
somebody that loves their home, and I'm sure she loved it for many years.
Yes,
and that's people that are really in love with that. It is very important. I mean, when I see a home being demolished or being put up for sale, or it's going to become a parking lot, that really it does breaks my heart. So I'm like, if I could save them all, I would. But if I could offer support to those people that are in them, that hey, don't give up on it. It's workable. You can live a very modern life in them, but just kind of reinforcing that value that you kind of don't always know that you're surrounded by. So
absolutely.
I'm always learning new things about value and antiques, and there's a painting technique that was on our woodwork, and it was woodwork, but it was painted to look like wood. And for went around and around and could not figure out for the life of me why somebody would do that. Like, why on earth would you paint wood to look like wood?
Right.
Well, there was traveling artisans that would go and do that technique. So it was, like I said, it was an artistry, and it was valuable. So these are homes, and most of the times where you find them, I found them on even like a radiator was painted to look like wood.
Oh my goodness.
So they put it on woodwork, they put it on staircases sometimes, but that's something that I just learned recently, and now have a greater appreciation for something that I just thought was just a silly decision. It's like, no, like this was done, purposely. So I think if you know the history, then you kind of value it a little bit better.
So tell me your background. How did you get started? How long have you been doing this? What tweaked this passion that now became a business, and what does that look like?
Well, my parents, I always will give credit to them. They were very adamant that they exposed me to everything. So I was involved in the arts, performing arts, visual arts, everything that you could think of. My mom and my dad made sure that I was aware of.
Okay.
So growing up, I my first job that I wanted to be when I grew up was an artist.
Okay.
You know, I loved to color, and I was going to figure out how a way to, you know, color and make money at it.
Yeah.
And then when I got a little bit older and realized I kind of have to have a, you know, concrete job, it was architecture. And I took a grade class when I think it was in 5th grade, and fell in love with Frank Lloyd Wright. And I'm originally from Springfield, so they have the Dana Thomas house that's there. And I remember taking tours and getting, you know, he was doing designs that were just, you know, I mean, beyond, you know, cutting edge. And then he wouldn't stop with just the design of the built structure. He would then go and design the furnishings that went into it. So, you know, to take that much care into what was being presented to, you know, at the time clients of his was just astonishing to me. So I was a theater major at Illinois Wesleyan, again, being just involved with the arts and creativity. And then I looked for a home after graduation that I could kind of put some sweat equity into, that could, you know, I can build on. And my goal was I never wanted to move again. I wanted a house that I could plant my roots and be there, you know, indefinitely. So we fell in love with an old home in Peoria. And at the time, my fiance and I could basically live anywhere in central Illinois. So we fell in love with Peoria, fell in love with the home there. And when we got here, we realized there was a lot of homes that were being demolished, a lot of homes that were just kind of like, there were too many to take care of. So that was when my crusade started. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to let this happen. So we just started the design firm kind of just to get our feet wet in it. And then hopefully by next year, we will start aggressively the campaign for property development. And that will then kind of take the design beyond what it is right now as just a service industry, and then start really getting into those homes that need some love, need some TLC. And we've got some great connections with some great contractors that work with us, and they know how to fish wire through your plaster walls, you know, so you're retaining the plaster still and not necessarily just tearing it all out, you know, for drywall. And they, like I said, they're gems, because I know I come up with crazy ideas sometimes, and they're like, we can make this work, Reagan. We can make this work. So I always say, if you kind of want an idea of our aesthetic, if you go to leslietylerdesign.com, you can kind of see our niche, kind of see what we work with. But we're very much about, you know, putting your stamp on your home. You know, we don't want to dissuade someone from not being able to really make that theirs. You know, sometimes when you get an older property, you think, I have to stay with this because this is what I'm doing. And there's no harm in that. I think that that's, you know, noble. But I think that you can also have some fun with your space and make it part of, you know, you are a part of that home's journey as well.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think, like I said, we enjoy working with homeowners. And if you want to know more about what we do, go to our website and check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so you do commercial as well.
Yeah. And we do commercial. Yeah, we work with even, you know, modern structures, but yeah, if there's a commercial client that's out there that's kind of needing, like I said, we do the gamut between consultation all the way through installations. So, you know, if you have a question, call us. We don't bite.
Awesome. I love that. Yeah. So thanks for that background. So, you know, one of the things I looked up when I was looking even up, knowing what you do when it comes to the word preserve, is even like, and I never really thought of this, but even like the preserving of family traditions and the preserving of, you know, like it talked about a little bit about recycling or even nature. And it really made me think a lot more about how we do that. And I think as we age, some of that stuff becomes more and more important.
Yeah.
You know,
well, like you said, you know, when you were younger, you didn't really get it. And then now that you're older, you realize those things are important. And it's important because there was even a book that my daughter, who's 18 months, 18 months on the 12th, and it came with a cassette. And we were kind of joking that, you know, do you have a cassette player? Yeah. And the idea that my daughter has no really even idea of what a CD is, you know, and she thinks music comes from Alexa, you know?
Absolutely.
And so, and not that I'm against technology or moving forward, but I think it is important to kind of keep those relics that you can say, this is what was here before you, you know, and then this is where you're at right now, and then where can you take the baton? So,
that is so
I think,
true.
when it comes to that, you have to give at least a nod, I think,
Absolutely.
to that. There's no, there's no harm in tweaking it as you go along and making your,
Sure.
stack. But like your grandparents
Yes.
in the cabin, don't be afraid to make your memories,
Right, right,
because
right.
as long as you do it with love, I don't think you can go wrong.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah. That's so true. I was sharing with Reagan earlier just about, history and I just, as a child growing up, just felt like it was just so boring. I mean, history class was like the absolute.
Right.
It was
and then remember all the
terrible.
dates and you had like what
and
is
I was
this?
just like, why is it relevant? Like,
Right.
I don't, I mean, unless it was like kind of like the new news, or within my realm of
Right.
living
Right.
news, it was just like, what is this point?
Yeah.
And now I just really wish I could kick myself for that because now I find it so intriguing. And I, if we're going to travel or want to go see or go do, I think, gosh, I wish I knew more about this,
Yeah, or just the area, who walked these,
Yes.
streets, or who saw this tree when this tree was this big,
Correct.
I live on Moss Avenue, and I'm constantly like searching for photographs of, what does this street look
Yes.
like before today? Today you obviously see it, but how was it built? What houses were there first, and then how did it grow? And when there was still livestock roaming around,
Isn't
and
that something
dirt roads,
to
and
think?
I just, like I said, I can get lost in thinking,
We were just up there for the Moss Avenue sales.
Yeah, yeah.
And
well,
my
there's
mom loves going up there, and so
there's so many. There's so many,
Oh.
and so I'm always the one that still walking and looking at the different plaques and reading about the different houses that started the whole thing. But yeah, we live right across from the Moss Bradley home,
Okay.
and then even knowing about how he started the university, obviously, but then the street was named after his wife.
Oh,
That was her
wow.
maiden name was Moss, so that's where Moss Avenue came from. So
Oh,
just
good
those
to
little
know.
tidbits that
See?
like I said, I think it makes you appreciate the space a little bit more if
Absolutely.
you do know where it came from,
Right,
because
right.
then you do see yourself in the bigger picture, and it's not just a house.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely. We
something-
had one of the words last year. I'm trying to think what the word was, but we were talking about the history behind the whiskey daddle, the whiskey races that Running Central puts on
Okay.
in the fall, the marathon race, as well as they have the 5 and 10. But I mean, I just thought that was just the name of their race. I
Yeah.
had no idea that there was a Peoria history behind it.
Oh,
and
the
all of
Whiskey
that.
Barons? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was so interesting, but now I'm like a sponge. I'm like, I
Yeah, we
love
soak it
that
all in.
stuff.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
hearing.
Yeah, and it's surrounding us.
Right.
We just have to look. So I think
Yeah.
it's important that even in your, like you said, in your day-to-day life, if it comes to recycling or the environment, especially the environment we can go on and on, I'm sure about.
Yes.
But just in every aspect, kind of preserving the integrity of what's there, and
And
not
I
getting
never,
away from that.
I said to my husband just the other day, I was talking to him and I said, there's got to be a way, we're like, complaining about all these potholes. And I'm like,
Yes.
there's got to be something that can recycle that can last longer than what we're doing.
Okay, so I'm not. Yes, I was just telling my mother that. I'm like, I don't believe there's not a technology out
Yes.
there that can't. Yes, because it does seem wasteful. If
I
you live
do.
in Illinois, you're like
We're
every
just
year
tearing it up, and
we
then
tear it
just
up
do-
and every year,
right.
and then we'll do
And
back
there's
the next
a cost
summer.
and
Right.
whatever. And I'm like, there has got to be, because there's things that my daughter-in-law is huge into preserving, and I mean, she doesn't want to do plastic. She wants to do homemade stuff that you put in jars, and I mean, I'm learning a lot from her. At first, I found it very challenging to buy for her, to shop for her. I'm like, what is all this,
Right.
And now I'm finding it to be so.
Yeah.
That there's a part of me that we've done it long enough that when you see something not being preserved, that you're almost like, ugh, there's
Right,
like a
right.
cringe that
Yeah.
when you see like a soda bottle or a water bottle or whatever it is going into the trash, that
Yep.
you're like,
Yeah,
you know,
don't do it. Yeah, don't do it. Yeah.
So it's taught me a lot, but it's amazing how in depth you can get. But my point, one of the things, they're getting ready to have a baby, and I was looking at like kind of go green toys, and I mean the toys that they come up with, just recycled milk jugs, and I'm like, it's unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
how they
There's cutting edge, and then like for
never-
our daughter, we did cloth diapers.
They are too.
Yeah. Okay.
So just
but
got
my
some-
mom was like, "What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Why would you do such a thing? Because she
Right.
grew up when that was a necessity. They didn't
Yeah.
have disposable, so it wasn't like a luxury.
Right.
And they've come a long way, so they're not, where you have to pin together. I mean, you
Yes.
can. I have a friend that does, and I applaud her, but mine are kind of, snap, snap,
That's what
and
it
you're
looks
good.
like.
And
Yeah.
it has, over, a year and a half, saved us probably tremendously. I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine. But we're going to have to go on an extended trip for a couple weeks. And so most of the time I try to do cloth diapering even on the road, but for that length of time, I'm not going to be able to. So I'm like, what is the most natural, pure, decomposable way? Like you said, once you do know about
Yeah.
preserving, you're kind of like, I feel guilty just throwing away this plastic that I
Yes.
know is not going to break down. And I'm
She
having
does
this
have
angst.
some diapers, by the way. I don't quote me, but you and I'll cook
Yeah.
afterwards
Yeah.
because she found some. So
Okay, well, good, because I'm like, what am I going to do?
And she's only doing them for us grandparents that are like, cloth diapers, what?
Yeah. And my
like,
mom
what
was
do
the
we-
same way. She was like, what in the world? And now she's
So-
a pro. So
Yeah.
she always says it takes so long. And it takes a couple seconds extra, but
Yeah.
you know what's on there. You know what they were cleaned in. And, at the end of the day, they do save you a bundle. So
Right,
it's like a win-win.
absolutely.
It's a win-win.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think preserving as you grow up, I think it just becomes more and more important in a lot of aspects. I mean, I think the history of it and keeping that. I think even I look at things that I grew up doing, like family traditions. We touched just
Yeah.
a little bit on is just even seeing some of that stuff that I grew up. And it's almost like you want your kids, and it's a different world, so it's not going to look the same.
But you still want a little bit of
But,
that to continue.
yeah.
And if you teach them, this is where it came
Yes.
from. I'm not just saying this as, mom,
Absolutely.
it's,
Right.
there's a history from that, then hopefully they'll value that too, and
Yeah.
they'll keep it going. And that's nice to see. I
Absolutely.
think that's the best part about life is passing what we know on and to the next,
Sharing.
to the next. So
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So we've got just a couple minutes left, and so I want to share. I want you to be able to share, I guess, and kind of how they get a hold of you.
Okay.
If they're inspired with
Yeah.
or at wit's end with a project,
Right.
or if they're living in this. I mean, because I know it's a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, my mom and my stepdad.
Yeah.
I mean, bless their heart, they've done a fabulous job, but it is a ton of
a ton of work, and it's a
So-
ton of patience. And
Yeah.
like I said, we kind of like to be that resource that if you do, like, at least check to see if there's a possibility before you decide to just destroy it. But if you need to get in touch with us, our
Right.
website is leslietylerdesign.com.
Okay.
There you'll see that we do like your standard interior design services, which you would get from any traditional interior designer. And then we also have like home staging, which is kind of
Okay.
more of a consultation
Yeah.
sort of centered platform where if you just kind of have a couple questions or a couple ideas that, hey, I'd like to do this, or would you
Yeah.
suggest to that, we're there for that as
Sure,
well.
sure.
And then if you want to follow us on social media, the extension for that is at Black House 7. And
Okay.
that's on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram a lot. We do a lot of kind of behind the scenes.
Black House 7, all spelled
Yes.
out.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yep. All spelled
Okay.
out. 7 is our
Okay.
daughter, so that's where that
Oh,
comes
yeah.
from. And
Awesome.
black is one of our favorite colors, so
Yeah.
we always say we have the Black House. But
Okay.
but yeah, that's kind of where you'll see kind of a behind the scenes look of
Okay.
our process. So you'll get a kind of a peek inside our family life, and it is kind of a family business. So we're constantly at salvage yards and stuff like that, and we like to share little tidbits. So I always say if you are in the local Peoria area or even Central Illinois area, give us a call. We do free consultations, and we'll come out, we'll talk to you and see if it's the right fit for what you need. But if nothing else, we're on like I said, social media, and you
Yeah.
can get an idea, and at least
Peek.
we can kind of serve as inspiration for you and what you're working on. So.
Absolutely. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So thank you.
Well, I want to say thanks for joining us, and definitely thank you, Reagan.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I
sharing.
get so excited that somebody wants to listen to me ramble about my passion. So.
I'm super excited that
Thank
she
you.
shared, and,
Yeah.
and this was a great way of sharing the word
Yeah,
preserve.
it
So,
is. It is.
so thanks for watching. If you missed today's episode, you can go to I'veDecided.org for the show, as well as for more information about I've Decided, and you'll be able to see Reagan on that site as well. So anyway, thank you again,
you.
and
Thank
you
you.
guys have a great week.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks. Thank you.